Well, I should give a statutory warning. Some things you may not like. There are many times regulators as well as investors, few times consumers who may not
I
like
don't
what I say.
understand. Who did not like what?
You may not like what I'm going to say.
Oh, I heard she may not like. I was wondering what is that. Okay. Thanks.
See, if you remember, the whole notion of renewable energy, it's good, we should promote it, it should be done. So we did a number of steps. We started sometime in 90s doing something. So I'll quickly try to, I have already hidden many slides once I saw what kind of things I'm going to face here. So let me just directly jump to these few points. Were there some problems with the way renewable energy was being regulated, the kind of framework we had? So I'll just try to give you a hint.
louder, please.
Really? Okay. So, which means that I am talking about, was there something wrong with the existing framework in some sense? So, I'll tell you about economic efficiency. And there was also something which is like the missing compliance of RPO, why it was happening. So, I'll tell you about that.
I'm sorry. What is economic efficiency of existing policies?
I'll explain that. Don't worry. Just hold on. Then, of course, we have cases like some states or jurisdictions we do not have endowments. And then how do we promote this for off-grid areas which need the most of the help? Okay, now let me explain first. I think the slide has switched. Is why did this happen and why there was a shortfall of RPO? What was the reason behind that? If you have had an opportunity of any economics class, you will see there is a supply curve. And along this line on the supply curve, there are locus of points which are combinations of P and Q, right? Which means on this supply curve, P and Q have to be existing together. So what does the regulator do? In most of the cases, in one meeting, okay, today we will decide about RPO. So it is how much? 5%, 7%, 2%, 10%. Number has been fixed. So Q has been fixed on one meeting. Then after a couple of months, there is another meeting. Oh, let us now work on FIT, which should be based on some cost base, some considerations and all that. So we are just trying to find 2 points which are completely not compatible with each other. And that's the reason we see these kind of things happening. The kind of tariff you have in the states, the kind of resource endowments you have in the states, you're not going to be able to find investors to come up for that. Yeah. REC was a part solution for that. The second thing was about economic efficiency. Now, I am taking a completely different take. And
I'm sorry, this slide is not visible to anybody.
It will be visible. It will be visible.
Actually, invisible. Okay.
It will be visible. So suppose you have to buy, 50 kg, I gave this example last time also, 50 kg of sugar, and there is a guy next door just 2-3 houses after, and then you say he sells cheaper. This is the cheapest shop. But then you go to him and he says, no, I have only 30 kg, right? So if you have to buy actually 50 kg, and there is another shop further down, and which probably is more expensive. So what will you do? You will first buy this 30 kg from the cheapest source, and then the 20 kg you will buy from the next shop, isn't it? That's what the merit order is all about. We do it every day, time in and day in and day out. We always say merit order. So why shouldn't there is a merit order in terms of investments? Whenever we have the CAUs to do this integrated resource planning, they'll always think about which hydro should come up there. First this will come, by the time this is developed, the next time we'll go to the other one, which will then become economical. We didn't do that for renewable energy. Partly because we didn't have the vision at that time. So what has happened? The states where the endowments are very good, for example, if in the south, this is for solar by the way, but similar story is for wind. I think there's a different chart. So what is happening? Every state, depending upon the solar radiation, you will have to compensate the investor with a higher and higher tariff. Why should we do that? If there is a state, suppose in Assam.
Compensate the what? With a higher tariff? What did you say? Compensate?
See, if suppose, let me give an example in terms of wind. Suppose if you have to set up a wind plant in Tamil Nadu, you have a very high CUF because winds are good around here. You need a lower tariff to satisfy the investor to come here and invest, right? You move little up, Karnataka, you need little more tariff because it's the inferior resource. Go to Maharashtra, little more inferior. Yeah. You go to MP, it is even more inferior, right? Understood. And there was once a news item which said the UP will also come up with a wind policy. So I said, fine, we'll have a employment generation scheme here because people will have to literally blow air. Ultimately, it didn't happen. So that's the kind of thing it is happening. So why shouldn't we be investing first in the locations where the resources are most optimal, do that and then move forward? Of course, there are sometimes reasons like I want investment in my state, I need local employment opportunities.
And all have to rush through because
yes, I am quickly running through that. So I'll just...
This is very colorful, very mysterious, but need to rush
So I'll explain. Similar story stands for the wind. So every state wants to promote wind, and that's why. And there is another aspect which is about these off-grid plants. This is something a plant in Ladakh which we visited a few years back. These kind of plants need more support from the government, from the institution, from the whole renewable energy framework as such. But in the current setup, these are not included. So what was the solution? So I wrote about this particular solution, which I called at that time renewable energy credits in 2006, which is currently called renewable energy certificates. And last year I came to know that my paper actually was moving around in 2009 when they were working on it. I came to know about that only last year. So what are these RECs? Basically two things. These are gray and electricity, and you have green electricity. So RECs is just you are monetizing the green paint which is on the electron, selling it somewhere else. Online you can sell it somewhere. It goes. And it has many advantages. And these advantages are many in fact. Starting from not just having voluntary market for green energy, but also...
No, Anup, I'm sorry, we don't want to know advantages of RECs, we want specific clauses in the agreement.
Let me go to this first one by one. Okay. So first few things which have been done is, for the first time, few things have been decided. It says renewable energy definition and obligated entities have been defined properly, which I thought obligated entity was clear to me at least, but there were some court cases on that. In the second point, which says about renewable energy, which has been defined, cogen is only said to be for those which are just in bold, but not for those which are later on, like from the waste. So this is something, a fault in the definition itself. The cogen should, that particular 4 or 5 words should appear at the end, which means cogen from any of these above technologies. Currently, we are not doing that.
But doesn't it say waste, including municipal and solid waste?
Yes, but it's before.
Which part of cogen is missing here?
No, it says cogen appears before. It says hydro, wind, solar, biomass, biogas, and all that cogeneration from these resources, these which have been just specified. And then it says municipal waste, which means cogen from municipal waste or any kind of waste is not to be considered. You have a lot of opportunity. You have a lot of waste generation in a number of industries.
Point, note this down. Hold on, just go back, please.
Yep.
16A, 57A, the wording, it has to cogen from any source, okay? Sure. This takes care of Davangire's point also.
Okay, of course, few things have been, the most important thing which has happened is RGO. And separately, I have a slide, but I can mention here itself. Now, we have a framework where we have RPO as well as RGO. So both will coexist. In a number of ways, RGO is better in our context. It is better. Why? Because we are not able to impose penalties on the discoms because of a variety of reasons. But we can always coerce NTPC that whatever power you will sell, it has to have 5%, 10% of renewable energy.
Anup, I know I'm being rude. You don't like me, I know, but the question is very simple. What you're saying is very useful, very important. What you're saying is RGO and RPO can coexist. RGO is preferable. Let's move to the next point. I'm really out of time.
Sure. Okay, another thing missing in terms of RGO is the way it is specified, they will have to set up a capacity which is related to 10% of the capacity. Should be 10% of the energy, number one. Number two is there is no mention of that this particular RGO can also be fulfilled through RECs, which is also missing. So that market mechanism which can be used for RGO.
Hold. This is important.
Yep.
Go back. Point.
Oh, that's coming further actually. So I was trying to.
Basically, how do you trade an RGO certificate? So you need to have, is it interchangeable to REC or not? Will you deal with that? Okay? All right.
Another important aspect with reference to RPO and REC is that currently few states are able to go beyond their RPO. But there is no way they can offload that burden. Ultimately, you see, I like also green, but it's also somehow reflecting into higher tariff. So if some states which have been able to do more than their compliance, they should be able to sell it. And that's possible only through...
They are selling it. Huh? They are selling it on this exchange.
In latest amendment,
it has come.
Yes.
Next point, please.
Okay, this is specifically where somebody wants to generate and supply electricity through renewable energy. He doesn't need license. Distribution is missing because in a number of cases you will need distribution also, specifically if you are in a remote area. So distribution word is missing here. Okay, it says something about that RPO can be met through RECs, market instruments. But what is missing here is a notion of REC multiplier. So number of RECs may not directly translate into the amount of RPO that is imposed on the obligated entities.
Please explain.
Okay. So what happens is, in fact, the first time CRC came up with these regulations for RECs, they said we have a solar and non-solar. Even at that time, I had proposed that, suggested that we don't need that. Why should we really have two separate markets? It will reduce liquidity in the market, it will reduce competition. It's not good for procurer, it's not good for actually the market participants also, the sellers. There should have been only one market. So if you think solar is more expensive, you can say whatever you get from solar, you get 4 units of RECs per megawatt hour, which is doable. And at times I've been pushing this point for a number of interactions with CRC, and I was told every time, look, it needs an amendment in the Electricity Act. So now it is an amendment, so I thought probably it should be done. So we can just have not only that, we can have a multiplier scheme which will have a sunset clause that today solar of this kind is currently having a 4 multiplier, next year it will be 3.9, next year it will be 3.8. And this gives signal both to the investors as well as to the technology developers, look, I have to reduce my cost and reach that efficiency level, otherwise I'm out of the market. So that visibility we have not been able to provide anywhere. And this you can do for all kinds of technology. Not only that, with reference to RECs, I think its point is coming. We also have something new which has come here, which says there will be market for encouraging energy efficiency in power. See, we are again doing the same thing. So many multiple institutions we are creating. We have already created in REC 2 types of RECs. There is separately PAT mechanism which is coming up, which will have its own problems. It's likely to be there. Now
So are you against that, or you?
No, I'll tell you. What I'm saying is, we already have a mechanism which is going to work fine. All we need to just ensure what kind of translation you can do between PAT and REC. So E-certs and REC's market can be combined.
We agree.
Right? So this is something which
So
you shouldn't have multiple.
let me just add icing on the cake. We can also put the HPO in, since he's insisting on giving us a whole laundry list of pastries. So hydropower obligation can also be put in. Chalo. Next, sir.
Okay, it says something about, there is something about the central government in consultation will give tax rebates and all.
Just one second. Point, have you understood? There are 2 RECs, solar and otherwise. There's going to be E-certs. There's going to be hydro. And RJ is hanging somewhere in the air, which has to be interchangeable either with an REC or that, and the mechanism will be put in place. And a very important point you made is that how do you have these multipliers? And also a track that the solar will keep going down so that the efficiency keeps on improving so that he is able to repay his debt, right?
Yeah. There is another important aspect that we are perhaps the only country in the world which we have FIT scheme as well as REC scheme together, right? And I have given a number of times these suggestions, we can combine both the markets, and that was the idea, was that all the RPO procurement currently being done by obligated entities, allocate them equivalent number of RECs. They just need to go to the regulator office, submit it to one particular table, and just get away with that part. There's another interesting issue is with related to the penalties, and we have facing penalties that it can't be imposed. You need to get a chance of hearing to the parties, and then only you can do it. There was a solution also, which I call that is a forbearance. There is a forbearance price which is mentioned in the case of regulations. But I suggested there is something called a buyout price. The buyout price concept is like this. The DISCOM, the obligated entity, walks into the regulator's office and says, look, I was supposed to buy 100 equivalent of RECs, but I could buy only 80 and nobody came to sell it to me, so it's not my fault. Isn't it? That's what is happening. So the regulator's answer could be simple, doesn't matter, you go to the next room, there is a babu sitting there, he will give you a green paper which will say 1 REC, it is costing only 16 rupees, buy it, put it together with your bundle, we will accept it. So what has happened? Your buyout price, which is already working as a penalty, has been put as a forbearance price. All of this, in fact, when CRC came up with this floor price and forbearance price, I told them, you don't need that, both will be automatically be done by the market. But in any way, they have done it. So if you can have this buyout price, you need not have any penalty structure there. It's automatically built into there. You need not have a forbearance price anywhere. It is automatically built in there. Only thing is the states will have to agree on a specific mechanism, maybe through tariff policy, that how they will calculate this.
My question to you is this. Section 66 has given powers to the regulator to develop a power market. How he does it, what he does it is not being interfered with by the bill. What are you proposing? That the interference should happen in the act itself? Or are you talking about your suggestions to the regulator on what he should do? I'm not very clear.
See, the difference is this: if you actually incorporate in the act itself, there's a likely that you will have uniformity across the state.
So what do you want
This is one thing.
incorporated in the act?
So if you have this key, if in case you have currently penalties is specified that if you are a non-RE, then you have to pay 1 crore, or if you are RE, you have to pay 1 crore, and all those kind of things. That differentiation, first of all, is not required. If you have broken the law, it doesn't matter. If you are a RE or non-RE, they should be same. I'm not saying what level it should be. I'm against that kind of discrimination. Second thing is, for RE, specifically for the purpose of shortfall of RPO or RGO, you just need to say that there is a buyout
No,
price,
but
that will
Anup-
be my penalty mechanism.
Anup, I'm sorry, I'm just sorry for belaboring on this point, but the government is pushing renewable in a big way, and that is why there's a differentiation. While I agree with you, if you've broken the law, you've broken the law, but the government is pushing renewable, and so therefore, I'm still again asking the question, are you suggesting that these are the guidelines they need to keep in mind while looking at framing the final sections on 66? Or are you asking the Parliament to pass a legislation which allows the central government to directly interfere, I'm using the word interfere, on something which was the sole domain of the regulator under 66?
Okay. See, the reason I am mentioning it here is we can differentiate between the penalty which is for RPO and RGO kind of a scheme and penalty which is for any other thing like grid code or anything else. If you do that and pre-specify, we will have a uniform regulation we can have across the country. And that will have a much healthier market and much healthier system. Rather than having it with each state, then you'll have to say, okay, this is specified in tariff policy. Now
Okay,
should
okay, so I got it. You want a unified policy for the entire country for as far as renewable is concerned in this space. Done. Next.
Okay, we have hydropower also being added. I'm not really sure what is the intention with that. Why do we want to promote hydropower? It's good, but I need to be educated for that. Okay. Now, this time we have also, of course, cogeneration of electricity has also appeared. Of course, it's useful because it enhances overall energy efficiency of the system. We also have something called RESCO, right? Renewable Energy Service Company, which is like, can be used for multiple purposes. But it's not clear that can this guy sell it to, he will have to sell this renewable energy only to the consumers, or can he sell to a supply licensee or somebody else? He can sell it to anybody, and that option should be available here. It is also possible he can have a part RE, maybe he's bundling and doing something else. Why should we stop him from doing that? Our purpose is more RE if it be...
No, so where do you see this sitting in the act? The RESCO is what? A generating company, trader,
No,
or what is he?
This is a new entity which has been defined. In fact, the act doesn't say anything else about it.
No, that's fine. I'm asking you as an expert, what is it?
Okay.
ये चीज क्या, animal क्या है ये?
So what it says is it's renewable energy service company. So it's a service related. Means entities which will help you set up maybe rooftop, and they will say, okay, we will do everything for you. You just need not worry. We will fill up the forms. We will buy the technology.
You don't need that in the act. You can do it anyway.
Yes. But the way they have presented it, if it is required there, I am saying is currently they are saying these companies can only sell electricity to consumers, to nobody else. The consumer can always say you bundle, you pool all this power and sell it to somebody. Why should I be worried about that? Isn't it?
No,
In
I'm
fact-
sorry, you need to elaborate this. So what you are saying is, supposing I have rooftop solar and it's been aggregated by company A in one colony, they can sell that power only to that consumer. That in any case
That's
you
what
do.
it says. It provides renewable energy to the consumers, it says.
Which
It's in
consumers?
bold. It says to the consumers, with whomever
So
they
other
will interact.
consumers?
No, it can be more than consumers also. It can be just a retail supplier. I give it to retail supplier and he probably supplies it to consumers. That's
So
possible.
what you're saying is the RESCO, let's assume there are...
RESCO should have a more broader market. That's what I'm saying.
Let's say 1,000 houses with solar rooftop, they consume whatever they need, the surplus power will be taken by the RESCO and sold to another consumer. Then therefore he's a trader.
No, or he can be selling it to a supply licensee.
No,
or
but
to a
is
trader.
renewable energy considered a certificate or it's considered as energy?
No, here it is energy. It's in
It's
electrical
energy.
form. In electrical form it is. In electricity. in the form of
And it will be
electricity.
sold real time or it will be sold through a storage and a banking system?
No, this will be sold, I think, I mean, banking is a different, which can
No, no,
be
no. How-
reflected in the regulations part.
Sir, पूछ रहा हूँ.
अच्छा.
Aggregation में the difficulty will be that when I accumulate solar energy, I may not have a buyer at that time for that much energy. So I'll have to go through an exchange or I'll have to go through a banking system or something. So what do you visualize as an expert?
See,
Give us a concrete this thing for this
Sure,
clause.
I'll tell you. See, what is happening is there are 1,000 houses you put rooftop solar. There is a one renewable energy service aggregator. He says, I will buy all this excess power and I have engaged a contract with somebody else who will just pick it up from here. Currently, I am being forced that I should only sell it to the consumers. And it will also probably somehow will have a problem because each state has a now solar rooftop policy which says excess you can sell to the grid. So it's probably not coherent with that scheme also.
Hold.
So
57B, his point is very important. You need to allow the renewable energy service company to not only sell to the consumers, but also to aggregate and sell to other consumers. Okay? And if it's energy, then it hits a problem because you need to get license for it. Now the question is it be state license or central license?
in fact, currently it's not specified even whether
So you
this
need to
guy doesn't
specify
need
state license or central license, A. B, will you fix a margin? Obviously, you have to poke your nose, then you poke it fully. You won't let people go and market and all that. And third, banking and wheeling. So will the local distribution company, for example, take my power, keep it for me and then allow me to sell it to a consumer day after tomorrow when he wants it?
At this point of time, it is very nascent. I think it will have to.
No, I know where you're coming from. It's just that I'm just telling the point, guy, that this needs clarification. That's all. Okay.
And there is
Lovely
some-
point.
there's
Anu,
one
you
point-
made the day.
Few,
Next.
few more points. There's something interesting I found in this Electricity Act. Somehow they didn't want to use this the word supplier of renewable energy in the form of electricity. They said provides, right? There is somewhere else, if you remember, it says provider of last resort. In fact, I wrote a long back, I was mentioning a paper. I in fact have said supplier of last resort. In fact, it should be called still supplier of last resort. Here also they have said it provides, so it's a provider of renewable energy. They didn't say supplier of renewable energy because they're saying probably it will be confusing.
No, so it was the definition of provider of energy. Is the definition mein hoga na?
No, this is not given. This definition may provider of renewable energy, there is nobody. There is a provider of last resort, which is for consumers who will go for retail competition.
But that's government company.
Yes, that's the government company.
That's a government company. So then you're back to square one. Kuch nahi hoga.
No, this I was only mentioning in the context, the word, the
No, so
choice of the word
therefore,
provides.
point, clarification, provider of renewable energy to be defined, okay, either as a trader or whatever. Finally, coming to the point that is it a provider of the last resort and is he linked in any way to the government company which is the supply license under the separation of carriage and content.
So there
Okay.
is another possibility with RESCO. RESCO can actually have a agreement to sell this electricity to the consumer, part of the electricity, the gray electrons to somebody else, and he says, part I will take it and I will sell as a green electricity, which is called, I call it a voluntary market of green electricity. I often tell at conferences, don't be surprised in future if you'll have one of the Khans coming, I buy green power, do you? Something like that.
No, I understand, but
Because the
that's
reason
why I
is-
asked you, are you selling power or are you selling certificates? That was my specific question.
reason is, I think he shouldn't stop that particular thing.
No, he won't, but the question is, then let's put it down, no? Let's put it into a positive sense, that he should be allowed to sell the power, he should be allowed to sell the credits, he
He
should
is
be allowed.
essentially selling power, but they wanted to, they have chosen different words to write the same thing.
See, selling power में क्या problem बताता हूँ. Supposing you say 1,000 households solar power लगा दिया आपने, now I'm going to sell to, let's say this hotel, ठीक है? Now, when I have the sun or the wind or whatever, the hotel may or may not have a requirement which is matching. I have to schedule it in 15-minute time blocks.
So
And that is not possible.
I'll-
So therefore, I need to have a banking arrangement with the local utility, which should be mandatory. Then KPTCL will jump up and say,
I
okay.
think I'll just explain that. You might be aware currently, there have been instances, as far as I have been educated, that there were power purchase PPAs between renewable energy generators and some consumers, and if RRF is quite lax or it is absent, actually I do a good amount of gaming there. I say this is my consumer and this is how I will generate, but if I don't generate, I don't have to give an penalty somewhere, I get away with it. So there are dangers of that kind also, and it can happen here also.
I am talking about scheduling. बहुत simple बात कर रहा हूँ मैं कि this thing cannot be done unless you allow banking and wheeling, and there the utility has
Yes,
to be
that's the
told.
additional thing which is required. Yes, that will help it. If you have banking, of course it will help.
No, help me, you can't do it otherwise.
Yes,
You can't sell.
see, people have been selling it otherwise also.
You can't.
People have been selling.
No, no, people have been selling it through the generator directly selling it.
Yes.
Please understand the difference in what you're saying. Here in the act, you are saying there is a new entity being created called Renewable Energy Service Company, which will provide renewable energy to consumers in the form of electricity. Number one, you're competing with the local distribution
Yes.
company. पहले तो वो तुमको मार देगा. If you survive that, then he will kill you in other ways. My question is, will the local company allow you to do that? Why shouldn't they do this business?
So
They're already short of cash.
In fact, this particular 57B creates a lot of confusion, in fact, because of the definitions, because it will have some implications across many other sections.
Okay, chalo. Understood.
Okay, this frankly, I'm not an electrical engineer. I have somehow been working in this area because I was in a regulatory commission earlier, but I don't think how can we really have a spinning reserve with a, with a RE plant. It's difficult. I mean, at least whatever little understanding I have.
Spinning reserve, if you can allow me, banking is there. But if you don't allow me,
No,
banking is
spinning
not
reserve
there.
is that I am ready to give electricity feed to the grid as soon as you ask me. I can't even schedule it properly. I can't even forecast it. So how can I really have the spinning result? I can't produce more wind or more solar there. So I'm not clear what was the intention. It has been put there.
Spinning reserve.
Okay.
And we are still spinning. And 2 minutes are over, half
I
a
may be
minute is
corrected.
over.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I am not really sure about how this is going to work. This is not really about RE, but it says something about minimal ecological flow. It has been debated for the last, I think, probably 8 or 10 years now. I have been following this also. But it's completely subjective. What is ecological flow? Who will define it? This is not there. It will Central Water Commission or somebody will do it. Is it MNRE which will do it? So who will design it? I think this is required, very much required, but very much subjective. Will it be a straight subject? Will it
Hold
be
on.
a center
Has
subject?
anyone in this room understood this last part? Because I haven't. किसी को समझ में है ये ecological flow river क्या बात हो रही on section 8.2?
Should I explain it? And,
No, hold on.
Okay.
Let's see if they've understood because you were going to the next slide. Okay. No, continue to the next slide.
Okay, but I think this needs to be okay. We have DDG defined this time, and it says hybrid power systems are also part of that DDG, but it doesn't clarify. Can this, because hybrids are possible between renewable and non-renewable also. So there's a confusion. So this should be clarified. Are these included or not? No, you can have hybrid with the diesel's DG set also. Will that allowed? I will have a wind, solar and DG. And that's what is called in technical, all literature, this is called a hybrid system. You can have a wind and solar hybrid also. You can have one DG also attached and that's also
You can
hybrid.
have a tribrid.
Right? It needs
With
to be
wind,
hybrid.
solar and water, hydro. Okay, then,
Yeah.
so what do you want to do here?
I mean, it should be clarified. What do they mean by hybrid?
86.1E, na?
Yes.
Yeah, E. Okay, chalo, next.
Okay, this is just to just an idea I'm saying. To promote smart grid, it says to promote. Whenever the act says promote, remember it has been used, if I understand, in states to say, look, because renewable energy is supposed to be promoted, you will provide connectivity proper, you won't charge for this, you won't charge. So now a smart grid needs to be promoted. Which means what? We don't have meters, even proper meters in most locations. So who will make this
No, this
investment?
is an enabling provision.
That's fine, but who will make this investment unless, some multilateral institutions have money and they say, okay, go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Right. Okay, these
Have you finished?
last point, no, there are a few more. I have many, by the way. I have read all 3 drafts. The first draft I read, I never
Anup,
said-
we are running out of time,
I
my
have
love.
118 comments. Okay, I'll tell you about this. This is very sensitive, I feel. Fine, we can have DDG. This I have been, myself I have been promoting about renewable energy for providing access. But look what's happening. We say we will promote this DDG, somebody in the remote area, you just go out 20 kilometers off Kanpur Lucknow highway, you will find villages which are unelectrified or de-electrified even today. So somebody will set up a small PV and with some storage, and he'll say, I'll sell electricity.
No, which amendment do you want? I'm sorry.
This is the philosophical thing. I'm just
There's no time for philosophy,
no,
boss.
this is important because we need to specify somewhere in the act, or it has to be understood at the regulatory levels also. What is happening is, now we are saying is, because this particular hamlet or village is far away from the grid, I won't be there for the next 10 years because it's really remote. Which means we are convinced with the fact that, okay, let them live with 4 hours of electricity. They don't have the right to enjoy all those kinds of horrible cereals in the evening. This is what we are saying. Scandinavian countries have a now universal.
No, I'm sorry,
access
Anup, you'll have to get to specifics. Let's get off with the philosophy. Chalo, aage badho.
So the idea is that
Specifics,
when
yeah.
we say DDG, we need to have a policy. I'm coming to the point. We should have a policy that in future, whenever grid reaches there, DDG should be subsumed by the distribution company or the supplier at that time.
Good point.
This is required. Otherwise, the investor doesn't know what will happen after 5 years.
Subsumed and rules of the subsumation, including compensation to the DDG.
And this
owner.
should be decided today.
Okay, done. Next.
Then only you will find lot many people coming with investment.
Agreed, sir, agreed. Agreed, chalo.
Okay, this I have mentioned, I think DDG, so
Yeah.
I'll just skip this part. This is, okay, there was something which was, I think, hampering REC generators. RE generator with RECs is, we don't have bankability, right? I think this idea I have given a couple of times, that we can easily create this bankability to the extent that this state or the obligated entities signed a queue-based PPA. Oh, you can't call it PPA, or it is RPA or whatever, renewable purchase agreement. It is a queue-based. P you will get from the market whenever it comes. That will improve the bankability of these projects.
Which clause?
This is not there,
Thank you. Next one, please.
right?
Next one, please.
That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you want, I have
No, I don't. No,
some things you
No, if
can
you
read.
finish, it's fine. Thanks.
just to give you.
Further reading, we need one full day with you, alone, I mean like all of us. So we'll have a special session with you. But thank you so much. Round of applause to Anup for a brilliant presentation, and another round of applause for tolerating me. Thank you.